feet per second, and it has serious stopping power, enough to shut down a threat very fast without the legal, moral complexity of using lethal force. And every single launcher hand-assembled in beautiful Fort Wayne, Indiana. Legal in all 50 states, no background check, and they'll ship it straight to your door. Just go to byrna.com today and find the right launcher for you and your family. That's byrna.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this hour of the Sean Thompson Show is sponsored exclusively by DonleyAuctions.com. They need your guns. Sell for top dollar. DonleyAuctions.com.
From the streets of Melrose Park to the trading floor of the Merc, he's fought for every dollar he's ever earned. And now, with personal liberty and our system of capitalism under assault in America, he's here to seize back our rights from the government. With a cigar in one hand and a copy of the Declaration of Independence in the other, he's Sean Thompson. And this is the Sean Thompson Show.
Some folks are born made to wave the flag.
Now, I remember explicitly, when I saw his name, I remembered his face, I remembered the long hair, I remembered how integral he was in the movement to register voters, and too big to rig really traces back down to my next guest. Lara Trump has suggested he is the single-handedly registered more voters for the Republican Party than any other human being alive today. He is the founder of Early Vote Action. He is author of the new book, The Persistence, How Scott Presler Cleaned Up America's Cities, Seized the Voter Registration Movement from Democrats, and definitely helped to elect President Donald J. Trump. Scott, how are you?
Thank you so much for having me, Sean. What an introduction.
Well, I really do remember you, and you know, I am so blessed in life. I knew Charlie well enough to have arguments with him and laugh and introduce him to my important people. And we would always argue over the idea of, you know, I'm from Chicago, brother. And let me tell you something. They've been bragging for 70 years how crooked it is. I mean it. They cultivate that into the kids, right? It's just crooked. It's the way it is. You can be part of the short in the pants mafia, and if you're lucky and you know the right guy, maybe you get some phony baloney pension. I never liked it. All right? But I realized that it was rigged from the time I was a little kid. I recognized the night of the 2020 that dimwit in diapers stole that fracking election. There was no question about it. I didn't think you could do it, but you did it. And I'm wondering, is it because you figured out the formula that's cooked in the machines to steal it, the 1.3 versus 0.07, and you figured you needed at least 2 to 3 to 1 to win?
I think that there are more conservatives out there than Democrats in our country. And so what we did is, as opposed to just hoarding Democrats or swinging independents, you know what we did? We focused on the 30% of Christians that are not registered to vote, the 30% of hunters. And by the way, your next door neighbor, Wisconsin, there are 40% of hunters not registered. Meeting fraternity brothers, going to the fraternity houses to register them to vote. And it was just meeting these conservatives, galvanizing them and mobilizing them. That's how ultimately we were able together as a family to get 120,000 votes more for Donald Trump in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. That's where I spent the majority of my time in the 2024 election.
So did you study the 2020 election? Did you study it? Did you study when they? I was doing election night coverage with Bruce Dumont, who had a wonderful show called Coast to Coast. And when they shut down the vote, I was reminded in Minnesota of how they stole it for that half-assed comedian from Saturday Night Live, and they found the votes in the car afterwards. And I said to Bruce Dumont and everybody, now's when they're going to steal it. And sure enough, in the Democrat strongholds, that's exactly what they did. And to clean up the voter rolls in Chicago, it's never going to happen. They have to protect the buffer zone. So is what you stumbled on, that's the answer then. Register the ones who've never been registered. Force them to have to really overwhelmingly cheat to where they can't in such a short period of time. Is that the answer you stumbled on?
Well, there's so much to unpack from your statement, so let me get into it for a second. I mean, gosh, you said Minnesota, which is like a triggering word for me. Did you know that one registered voter in Minnesota can vouch for up to 8 persons without an ID? And literally, Sean, you could say, oh, I know these 8 people. They live in my neighborhood. I vouch for them. They're handed 8 ballots. Did you know that Al Franken only won his election in 2008 by 312 votes? Did you
That's
know
him,
that
yeah.
19.5% of all new registered voters on election day were brand new voters in 2008? So no, don't tell me that our election systems are the most secure in the nation. What we did is we beat the cheat by making it too big to rig. We got everyone under our big, beautiful coalition. Thank you now to the Barbs. Thank you to RFK Jr. Thank you to the libertarians that came on board. We need to keep this coalition going. And thank you to Laura Trump and Michael Watley, because remember, it wasn't just the voter registration. It wasn't just mobilizing people to vote and using early voting, but it was having eyes and ears inside polling locations and being litigious and having lawyers on the ground. All of those things working together with synergy is why Donald Trump won the popular vote in 2024.
One of the most amazing things to witness is the way in which the government as it existed poised itself to confirm the steal of 2020 election with the ridiculous narrative of an insurrection, which was really a protest to audit those late night comeuppance that we all knew was fraudulent as Al Franken's win. And the way in which the government had prepared for that and the Democrats had orchestrated it. I always said, Scott, you know why it wasn't an insurrection? There were no weapons and I wasn't there. But the reality is that was a protest. That was a protest to audit the vote.
Yeah.
They successfully squashed that. Now there's information, right? Now, thank God you and other people made it possible for Too Big to Rig. Are we ever going to get to the answer, in your opinion, and figure out exactly how it happened to make certain that it at least can never happen outside of these Democrat mafia-controlled areas?
Yes, I'm confident that we're moving in the right direction with DNI director Tulsi Gabbard. And I think what we've seen from our president is that man is not letting this issue go. And, you know, ultimately, I do want to reflect upon something for just a second, if I may.
Yes.
While the 2020 election was stolen, was tragic, led to Putin invading Ukraine and a whole bunch of horror, I think ultimately we are looking at the best situation coming out of this, that Donald Trump used those 4 years in preparation to where we are today. And as I mentioned, we have Tulsi now, we have RFK Jr., we have Marco Rubio, we have Kristi Noem, we have a strong cabinet. And had 2020 gone how it should have, well, maybe we wouldn't be so successful as we are right now. But no, we are not going to let 2020 go. And I promise you, I'm working to pass the Save America Act into law. And that is the most transformative piece of legislation. As President Trump said, that will be country saving when we sign it into law.
And that this is so essential. And anybody, and I mean anybody, I don't care if it's that moron on a bedpan, Mitch McConnell, or the normal thieving Democrats. If you are against it, it is for one reason and for one reason only. You want to steal elections. You want the plausible deniability. Yes. There is no other reason. And I say this because in Illinois, it's funny. You know, they talk about this Real ID. I know you've heard the Real ID. Well, it's a 20-year law. 20 years ago is when they first passed it in 2005. Yet all these Democrat mafia states, they waited till the very last minute for this specific reason. Now, if you can go get a Real ID, I don't want to hear anything about registering the vote. And we must stay fast on this, because if we do not get this, then they win in the end, don't they?
Amen. And that's why we're working tirelessly. Listen, 84% of Americans support it. Donald Trump said, let's stop the cheating, John, meaning John Thune, during his SOTU. The House passed it with bipartisan support, 218 to 213. And so that's why, Sean, I'm launching a Save America tour, and I will be going to South Dakota March 21st and March 22nd. I'm coming to Rapid City. I'm coming to Sioux Falls. I'm going to Kentucky. I'm going to Alaska. We're going to Pennsylvania to court Fetterman, but we are not going to let this legislation go. And with Macomb County, Michigan having non-citizens on voter rolls, with Maricopa County, Arizona having non-citizens on the voter rolls, with vouching going on in Minnesota, we are not going to allow our majority to go another year without inaction.
No, and Scott, this is what's so important. That's why I love the title of your book, because you must have persistence if you're going to put to death the ability of the monster of the fraud to creep back in. You have to finish it. We have to finish it. Without finishing it, it just means we're but a respite of what we're used to. And that's the part. Psychologically, in these Democrat enclaves, you train the citizens to accept the lies, and that must come to an end. So we need to do that right now with this persistence. And this is really the most diligent part. You have to finish it, don't you?
Well, that's why I named the moniker. People know me, of course, it's Scott Presler, but I'm known as the Persistence. And the reason why it was born was in 2017. Remember the Democrats, Hillary, all the Democrats, it was so negative. They were like, resist, we're the resistance. And I was like, gosh, it's so negative. And I believe energy attracts energy. And I said, we're going to be persistent, which is the definition is to continue on despite resistance. So whether it's coming from the left or whether it's coming from the inaction of the right, we're going to do right by the American people. We're going to do right by our country. We're going to fight for our freedoms peacefully. And we're not going to stop until the Save America Act is signed into law on President Trump's desk, period.
Well, the idea that it's an 80-20, and if I'm kind, it's an 80-20. You could argue it's an 86-14 is what it really is. And there is no reason for it to not move forward. And we need this to go on. So you do something I don't do. You talk to people who openly support the mafia. You talk to Democrat constituents. One of the things that's amazing that Donald Trump never gets credit for, except on my station, and I mean this, is that he has done something no other president since the history of the country has done. He has taken two candidates from the opposing side, two presidential candidates, and made them a crucial part of his cabinet. Do the Democrats you talk to, do they have an understanding how unbelievably outrageous that is, how insane and how truly progressive, truly inclusive that is? It's sickening that he doesn't get the credit for this.
Look at the 2024 election. We built the biggest, most beautiful tent that even included cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, libertarian, Maha, students, people of all colors. But that's what we want people to know is the Republican Party wants everyone to succeed. We are America first, even with those that disagree with us. And I think the American people saw during the State of the Union when Donald Trump said, stand if it is your patriotic duty to put the American people, not illegal aliens, first. Who stood? The Republican Party. Who sat in silence? Democrats. I think people's eyes are being opened.
Absolutely, and I think a lot of what we see, it's supposed to be news, it's supposed to be media, it's lies and propaganda. I do believe he has much larger support than the media would want you to. The first thing they did, the first thing they always did, was try to bash down the way in which people of honesty and integrity perceive him. So in your traveling, you're seeing Democrats that do still support him, do understand we have to bring integrity to this election system or there is none in the country.
Yes. Well, and I would like to make a pitch on your show, please. I'm working so hard, ladies and gentlemen. I'm traveling back and forth from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania to Capitol Hill. I'm meeting with senators. I've met with over 80 members of Congress. I'm trying to peacefully knock on every single door that I can, and I need your help. Please call tomorrow, first thing in the morning, your senators, whoever represents you, and I want you to ask them if they have already come out in support of the Save America Act, thank them for co-sponsoring the act, but then ask them to make a statement about supporting the talking filibuster and bringing the Save America Act to the Senate floor for debate. And that number is 202-224-3121. You can tell I know what I'm doing because I memorized it. 202-224-3121. Please make that phone call in honor of me tomorrow.
I love it. And I want to tell you this, and I mean this in the kindest way because I know I'm a lot older than you. I am proud of you, and I'm proud of what you've done, and I'm proud of the persistence. And where's the best place to buy the persistence? Where do you prefer the people go?
Thank you. Well, this is because of War Room Books. I believe we also have it on Skyhorse Publishing. I believe it's also on Amazon. But it would be an honor to earn everyone's support for my book, The Persistence. Just type in Persistence Scott Presler. And it's the story of the power of one. Guys, I started off as a dog walker, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I love sharing my very humble beginnings. And I want people to know that through hard work, through dedication, and dare I say persistence, you can go from the doghouse to meeting President Donald J. Trump and Vice President J.D. at the White House.
Yes, and I am so pulling. This has to be done. This movement to save America with the SAVE Act. So please keep me posted if there's anything you need or you think our audience can do. Please do, Scott. You have a hotline whenever you want it.
Oh, I'd love to come back and share updates with you. And I just want to say thank you to Senator Mike Lee for his work. Thank you to Congressman Chip Roy. And just know these people work for you, the listener. And they might do dog parades and they might take off a week, but that is over. We're not going to let them hide behind a cloture. We're not going to let them hide behind a vote. We are demanding election security, and we're not stopping, Sean. And I really appreciate your time.
Scott, really, thank you so much. And I look forward to the next time. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be back with your calls and comments.
He's Sean Thompson.
Hello, Mr. Thompson.
And this is the Sean Thompson Show on AM 560. The Answer.
If you're looking to purchase a loved one's home after they passed away,